Hello again, everybody. This is Dr. Brian Langlois. I'm the medical director of the Pet Pantry of Lancaster County, as well as a past president of the Pennsylvania Veterinary Medical Association. And we're coming to you with another update in regards to COVID-19 and your pets, as some people may have started to see floating around on social media and some of the mainstream media sites. There was a case of a dog named Buddy in New York. He was technically the first dog that was tested positive for coronavirus in the U.S. Basically start suffering from these really severe respiratory signs, starting to go downhill clinically, becoming very ill with a variety of symptoms, and unfortunately having to be euthanized. Now, during that whole time, as I said, he was actually tested and found to be positive for COVID. So immediately you see a dog now that is positive for COVID, showing severe respiratory signs and other signs of declining health, and then unfortunately having to be euthanized. Well, that sounds very similar to the course or disease progression in a lot of humans that get COVID-19, severe respiratory problems, and then potentially some other what we call comorbidities or systemic organ shutdown, systemic problems, and then unfortunately succumbing to the disease. So immediately some people may start thinking, oh my God, the virus has mutated, or now it's going to start infecting dogs in a really, really severe way. I need to be concerned. I need to get my dog tested, all of that. And I wanted to jump on here real quick and just say that this case is very unique in a lot of ways. It actually raises a lot more questions than it answers, because unfortunately there was no necropsy, which is the animal equivalent of an autopsy, done on this dog to get many more testing samples to see exactly what was going on. Because if you read the article and read a little bit of especially the National Geographic article about this, you will see that they believe the dog also had an underlying lymphoma condition or a cancer condition going on. So how much the two interacted is something that's very, very difficult to tell without more of that information there. And of course that will probably raise the concern of some pet owners saying, well, here we go again, we don't really have a lot of answers, we don't know what's going on, how serious is this, how serious is it not? What I usually tell people in these situations is there are always outliers. There are always odd case presentations of various diseases in any animal or any person. And it does not mean that that represents what's going on in the mainstream animal population. So really, our recommendations have not changed at this point. I know people are going to read that article, they're going to read what some of the mainstream media has kind of plucked from that article and put out there, but if you listen to the veterinary community and the veterinary research community, we are not recommending anything different than we have been recommending before. There has been no change aside from what we've already put out there as far as taking proper precautions. If you yourself have come down with COVID, possibly trying to get your pets taken care of by another person while at least you're going through the main part of the infection, and then when you recover, obviously having the animals brought back to you. That's really what the recommendations are there right now. We really do not feel that animals can become severely ill with COVID. There has been no animal case out there that any veterinary researcher or any veterinarian treating these cases can say 100% that COVID was the cause of death of this animal. We've always seen it where animals have succumbed to disease. There's some other, again, what we call a comorbidity or multiple comorbidities going on here where we can't tell exactly which one was the true cause of death. In Buddy's case, which again is very unique in a lot of ways because he probably did have this underlying cancer or lymphoma going on, did that weaken his system enough that maybe COVID in this case was allowed to cause a little bit more respiratory damage and cause some more respiratory signs? It's hard to say, again, because we don't have all of the information. Does this mean that all of a sudden all of these dogs are going to start getting sick with horrible respiratory infections, or cats here are going to become horribly infected with respiratory infections? No, there's no scientific evidence to show that right now. So we don't want people panicking. We know there's going to be a call for an increase in testing, and we in the veterinary community would love to see more animals tested. It gives us more science data to work with to get a better idea of seeing if what we're seeing in the research setting is really playing itself out in the real world setting, as we say. It's probably going to be hard to get testing for animals done on a large scale basis, at least right now, because obviously they're focusing on the human testing. So we're going to kind of just, again, rehash a little bit of what we've been talking about before and going back to the main points of there is no evidence right now that your pet can transmit COVID to you In this case of Buddy, again, the transmission to Buddy was believed to have happened from his owner, who was very sick with COVID for about a 3-week period of time. There is the possibility of animal-to-animal transmission with COVID. Again, this is being researched a little bit more and is not an area of super concern, when it comes to a lot of animal species. And we are not changing our recommendations as far as what you should do if you have COVID or if you suspect that your animal is very ill. You definitely want to still have it checked out by a veterinarian. They may recommend trying to get the animal tested for COVID depending on the signs that are there. However, it's not necessarily going to mean that it's a death sentence for your animal. It's not going to mean that everybody needs to be super concerned, because again, the science really does not say that even if they do test positive, you are at a greater risk of contracting it. It just does not seem to be spread that way. And there's been no documented cases of animal to human transmission of COVID. So please keep all of that in mind. I know it's going to raise some alarm bells. I know it's going to seem scary for some people, but this case was very, very unique, and we always have those outlier cases. So please, if you have any questions, if you have any concerns about this, contact your local veterinarian to get the most accurate and up-to-date information. If you have any health concerns, again, about your pet at all, be sure to contact your vet for an appointment to have them thoroughly checked out. Will there be more widespread COVID testing for pets in the future? Probably, and that's probably just going to be more to get a baseline number for research purposes. But at this point, there's been no evidence of virus mutation that is causing horrible disease in dogs or cats. There's no evidence that this is going to become a widespread problem, and this is what the science is telling us right now. So I just wanted to jump on quick and let everybody know that this is probably going to be coming up over the next couple of days. It is something to keep your ears up about and just see if there's anything further that's said about it, but it is not a cause for panic. It is not a cause for any concerns really with your pets, so long as they are generally healthy. And it's not a cause for you to go rushing out trying to find a COVID test for your pet, because we still don't exactly know what a positive test means in pets all of the time. It just means that we found the virus, and that's about it. If there's no other signs, the animal fights it off a little bit and then they're fine. So you don't have to go rushing out worrying anytime your cat or dog sneezes or coughs that, oh my god, they've got COVID, because more than likely that's not the case. So again, if you do have any questions, certainly contact your local veterinarian. Contact the Pennsylvania Veterinary Medical Association. You can check out their website. They have a whole section on COVID about this, as does the American Veterinary Medical Association. So this is Dr. Langlois with the PVMA and Pet Pantry of Lancaster County, reminding you that the most accurate place to get any information in regards to COVID or any other health issues in your pet is your local and trusted veterinarian. We will obviously be watching these cases very closely, and if anything changes, we will be sure to jump on to give you the most accurate and up-to-date information.